Welcome to Pillow Talk Dreams, where every night becomes a story and every story leads you to peace. If you love calm voices, gentle journeys, and stories that help you drift into dreams, then don't forget to subscribe and let your nights be a little softer. Now close your eyes and let the story begin.
The Star Wisher's Midnight Journey. The Wish Beneath the Stars. In a small, quiet town where nights lingered longer than days, there stood a little house with pale curtains and a creaky wooden porch. Every evening, when the world outside drifted into stillness, a faint golden light glowed from the attic window. Inside that soft glow lived a child named Alara. She was quiet, thoughtful, and always awake long after the moon had risen. Her window faced the open sky, a velvet sea of stars that shimmered like scattered dreams waiting to be found. Alara loved the night, not because she feared sleep, but because night was when everything seemed alive in silence. The hush of the wind, the whisper of trees, and the gentle hum of crickets painting the air. Each night, she would curl up near the window, resting her chin on her knees, watching constellations drift across the dark. Sometimes she traced them with her finger, pretending she could connect the stars into her own secret patterns. But on this night, something felt different. The air was cool and scented with rain that had passed earlier in the evening. The clouds had parted, leaving a clear view of the infinite sky above. Alara's heart felt restless, like something unseen was calling her name. Her grandmother's old clock ticked softly in the corner, counting seconds like gentle heartbeats. The whole world was asleep. Only Alara and the stars remained awake. She whispered softly, "Do you ever listen, stars? Do you ever answer?" The stars, of course, said nothing, but they shimmered a little brighter, as if to tease her. Alara smiled sadly. Her wish had always been simple. She wanted to see something magical, something that proved that dreams were real, not just stories told to make sleep sweeter. She pressed her hand to the window pane, feeling the faint chill of the glass. Somewhere deep inside, a small voice whispered, "If you truly believe, the stars will hear you." It was a memory, her grandmother's. Voice soft as moonlight. Alara closed her eyes. "Then tonight," she whispered, "I'll make a wish, just one." She took a deep breath, and as she opened her eyes again, she saw it. A streak of silver light darting across the sky. A falling star. Her heart skipped. The moment shimmered like it had been waiting for her all along. "I wish," she paused, her voice trembling. "I wish for the best dream ever. One that feels real. One that never fades when morning comes." The words left her lips like a secret carried on wind. For a moment, nothing happened. The star vanished beyond the horizon. The crickets sang. The old clock ticked. Then, very faintly, a sound, like a sigh of the night itself. Alara blinked. The air in her room shimmered softly, as though the starlight had seeped inside. The curtains rippled without breeze, and a faint hum filled the space, low, warm, and comforting. The moonlight seemed to bend, gathering near her window, and in the corner of her vision, she saw a flicker. A thread of light curling through the air, spinning slowly, beautifully. She stood, mesmerized. The thread twisted and wove itself into a small spiral, a glowing golden shape, like a tiny portal of stars. Her breath caught. It pulsed once, twice, then expanded softly, opening like a flower in slow motion. Beyond it, she could see faint movement, shapes of clouds, glimmers of distant light, and a vast, gentle world that looked like a dream given form. Alara reached out a trembling hand. When her fingers touched the edge of that, light, warmth flowed through her. Not hot, not cold, but like stepping into sunlight after a long winter. The glow wrapped around her hand, her arm, her whole body, and before she could even take a step back, she felt herself drifting. Not falling, not flying, drifting, like a leaf carried on a kind wind. The attic faded. The world melted into soft gold and deep blue. And then there was only silence and starlight. The drift into the dream. Alara floated through endless softness. Felt like drifting on a breeze made of light. She couldn't tell whether she was asleep, awake, or something between. All around her stretched a sky not dark, not bright. A deep twilight filled with glimmers that pulsed like heartbeats. Below her, ribbons of clouds swirled in slow spirals, glowing faintly silver. Stars shimmered above and below, as though the universe had forgotten which way was up. She tried to breathe, and found she could easily, freely, as though the air itself was gentle and alive. There was no fear, only wonder. Then, through the calm, came a soft sound like a bell being rung underwater. One note, sweet and clear. Alara turned slowly toward it. From the distance, a shape approached. Small, bright, gliding smoothly through the sky. It was not a bird, nor a person, but a spark. A tiny star, glowing softly with golden edges. As it drew closer, she saw that it pulsed with each sound of the bell. The little light hovered before her face, circling gently as though studying her. Then, in a voice so soft it might have been thought itself, it spoke. "So, you are the one who made the wish." Alara gasped. The sound wasn't frightening. It was melodic, like a lullaby speaking back. She nodded slowly. I wished for the best dream ever." The light shimmered, almost amused. "And so you shall have it," it said, "if your heart is ready to see." Alara tilted her head. "See what?" "The dream realm," the voice replied, "where wishes go when they are true." The light drifted back, leaving a glowing trail in its wake. "Follow me, little dreamer." Alara hesitated only a moment before she began to move, or rather, be carried. Her feet never touched ground. The air itself guided her forward as though she was part of it. As they traveled, the space around her began to shift. The starlit sky folded and unfolded like pages of a book. Colors she couldn't name swirled around her. Silvers, lavenders, faint golds, and pale blues blending like watercolor. Soon the air grew warmer. Ahead, she saw what looked like a vast gate suspended in the clouds. Two tall arches made entirely of starlight. Between them shimmered a surface like liquid glass, rippling gently as though waiting for her to step through. The little star turned back toward her. "Beyond this lies your dream," it said softly. "But remember, the best dreams are not made of what you see. They are made of what you feel." Alara nodded, though she didn't fully understand. Her heart beat softly, a rhythm steady and calm. The star floated closer again, circling around her head like a halo. "Before we enter," it said, "you must tell me your name. Names carry light, and light carries you." "Alara," she whispered. The star glowed brighter. "Alara," it repeated, the sound echoing softly through the air. "It means shining one, how fitting." The gate began to hum. A faint vibration filled the air, resonating in her chest like the purr of distant thunder. The surface between the arches brightened, and Alara saw faint images moving within, fields of silver grass, skies full of slow-drifting lanterns, mountains of mist, rivers of light. The star moved beside her. "Step forward, Alara of the waking world. Cross through the dream gate." She took a slow breath. The warmth of the glow brushed against her skin like sunlight filtered through clouds. She reached out her hand again, the same way she had touched the light in her attic. As soon as her fingers touched the rippling surface, the world around her dissolved in a swirl of colors and sound. The hum became music, deep, slow, and peaceful. For a moment she felt weightless. Then, with a soft sigh, her feet touched the ground. When she opened her eyes, she was standing in a field of tall grass that shimmered like moonlight. Above her, the sky stretched wide and endless, a canvas painted with stars so bright they looked close enough to touch. The air smelled of rain and something sweet, like warm honey. Fireflies drifted lazily around her, glowing pale blue. The little star hovered near her shoulder, now smaller, dimmer, almost like a firefly itself. "Welcome, Alara," it said softly. "Welcome to the place where wishes become journeys." Alara turned slowly, taking it all in. Her heart felt full, not racing, not anxious, just full of something she couldn't name. "This is the dream realm?" she asked. "It is the beginning of it," the star answered. "Each dreamer who enters must travel through 6 realms, each one holding a light. Only when you gather them all will your dream be complete." Alara frowned gently. 6 realms? What kind of lights? "The lights of the heart," said the star. "Kindness, courage, truth, peace, forgiveness, and hope. They are what make dreams real. Without them, dreams fade with dawn." Alara nodded slowly. The idea sounded impossible, yet somehow it made perfect sense. The star drifted ahead again, its glow brightening slightly. "Come." "The night waits, and dreams move like rivers. Let me show you the first path." Together, they began to walk across the glowing field. With every step, the grass rippled softly, leaving trails of faint silver light behind her feet. Far in the distance, she could see what looked like a forest, dark, calm, and whispering with unseen voices. The little star's voice carried gently through the night. "That is where your first journey begins, the forest of forgotten whispers." The field of glowing grass slowly faded behind them as Alara followed the small golden light. The air grew cooler, the breeze gentler, and the stars above shimmered with a soft hum, as though singing her forward. The nearer she came to the forest, the quieter the world became. The soft sounds of the wind melted into silence. Even the fireflies seemed to pause mid-flight, as if holding their breath in respect. The forest stood tall and endless, trees with silver bark, their leaves glowing faintly like candlelight. Between them hung veils of mist, drifting lazily in the air. The branches swayed slowly, though no wind touched them. Alara stopped at the edge. Something about the forest felt alive, not frightening, but deep and old, like it remembered every voice that ever whispered beneath its leaves. The star hovered close to her shoulder. "This is the first realm," it said softly, "the forest of forgotten whispers. Every sound here once belonged to a dream, a hope, or a wish that someone let go." Alara looked into the mist. "Forgotten hopes?" "Yes," the star said. "Some dreams are lost, not because they were impossible, but because hearts grew too tired to remember them. But no dream truly disappears. They come here to rest." Alara felt her chest tighten a little. "So, this forest is full of forgotten dreams?" "Full of them," the star replied. "Listen closely, and you'll hear them." Alara stood still, her eyes half closed. For a moment, there was only quiet. Then, faintly, she heard something, the softest murmur, like distant sighs carried by wind. Whispers, thousands of them. Some sounded like laughter, some like small cries. Others were just breaths, the soft remnants of words never spoken. Alara's heart ached. "They sound lonely." "They are," said the star gently. "But loneliness fades when someone remembers." That is why you are here. They began to walk beneath the glowing trees. The ground was soft with moss that sparkled faintly beneath their steps. The air smelled of rain and something faintly sweet, like forgotten flowers blooming again. Every now and then, Alara thought she saw faces in the mist, gentle, faded shapes of children, elders, dreamers, all watching her with quiet curiosity. But when she blinked, they melted back into light. "Do they know I'm here?" she asked softly. "They do," said the star. "They've been waiting for someone who still believes." Alara didn't know what that meant, but it made her heart feel warm. Deeper they went. The path twisted gently between trees, and above, the canopy shimmered with silver stars peeking through the leaves. Then they came upon a clearing. In the center stood an enormous willow tree, its branches sweeping down like a shimmering curtain of moonlight. The air around it glowed faintly blue. Alara stopped. "It's beautiful." The star floated forward. "This is the heart tree," it whispered. "Every forest has one, the place where its oldest dream sleeps." As they approached, the willow's leaves began to move, slowly, as though the tree itself had awakened. From somewhere within its branches came a voice, soft, weary, and full of age. "Who walks among my memories?" Alara froze. The voice wasn't frightening. It was sad, like someone who had been waiting too long to be spoken to. The little star glowed brighter. "It is I, Luma," it said, revealing its name at last. "And this is Alara, the Star Wisher." The willow's light flickered gently. "A Star Wisher. I remember that kind of heart. It has been long since one came." "Here." Alara took a small step forward. "Are you a dream?" "I was," said the willow. "A dream once loved, then forgotten. My dreamer wished to heal the world with kindness. But when time grew heavy, they stopped believing it could be done. So I faded, root by root, into silence." Alara's throat felt tight. "That's a very sad." The willow sighed, its leaves rustling softly. "Sadness is the shadow of love. But even shadows remember the light." Luma hovered closer to Alara. "This is your first task," it said. "Listen to the heart tree's sorrow. Let it speak. Sometimes, the kindest act is simply to hear what pain has been ignored." Alara nodded, stepping closer to the tree. She placed her small hand gently against its trunk. The bark was warm, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. At once, visions flowed into her mind. Flickers of forgotten dreams. Children laughing, hands planting seeds, people helping one another. Then those same scenes faded into gray as the dreamer's hope waned. Alara whispered, "You were a beautiful dream. Once," the willow said. "But beauty means little when unseen." Alara thought quietly for a moment. Then she smiled softly. "Maybe you were just waiting for someone to see you again." For a heartbeat, the entire forest went still. The whispering around her paused. The mist shimmered, and then the willow glowed a little brighter. "Perhaps," it said almost shyly, "perhaps being remembered is enough." Luma's golden light brightened. "You have shown kindness, Alara, the kind that remembers what the world forgets. Look." From within the willow's trunk, a small orb of pale blue light emerged, soft, glowing, and pure. It drifted into Alara's hands, warm as breath. "The light of empathy," Luma said. "The first light of your dream." Alara stared at it, amazed. The light shimmered, and for a moment she saw faces smiling within it. The echoes of every forgotten voice, grateful to be remembered once more. She looked up at the willow. "Thank you," she said. "No, little dreamer," whispered the tree. "Thank you for listening." A breeze stirred, gentle and sweet, carrying the sound of distant laughter. The forest around her seemed lighter now, not less mysterious, but more peaceful, as though it could finally rest. Luma floated upward. The first realm is healed. The next awaits. Alara closed her hand around the glowing orb. Its light seeped into her chest, filling her heart with warmth. She looked once more at goodbye, she whispered. Dream gently, Star Wisher, the tree replied. And with that, Alara and Luma turned away, walking back through the mist as the whispers behind them faded into soft, content silence. The path to the city of shimmering echoes. Alara and Luma moved in silence through the silver woods until the light of dawn, if dawn even existed here, began to glow at the edge of the sky. The forest opened onto a wide plain of soft white sand that glimmered as though the moon had spilled across it. The air smelled faintly of salt and starlight. Alara looked back once. The forest of forgotten whispers stood quiet now, its great willow shining faintly in farewell. For the first time since she had arrived, Alara felt truly peaceful. The whispers were no longer sad. They sounded almost like a lullaby carried on the wind. Luma hovered beside her shoulder, its glow steady and warm. The forest is grateful, it said. You reminded it what kindness feels like. Alara smiled softly. It reminded me how easy it is to forget. They began to cross the shining plain. Above them, ribbons of light drifted like slow-moving comets. With every step, the sand made a faint, musical tone, as though tiny bells were hidden beneath the surface. Felt like walking across a sleeping sky. Where do we go now? She asked. To the second realm, Luma answered. The city of shimmering echoes. Their dreams look at themselves, and sometimes do not like what they see. Alara tilted her head. Why wouldn't a dream like itself? Because truth can be bright, Luma said quietly. And bright things reveal every shadow. The words sank deep inside her. They walked on until the plain sloped downward into a valley filled with light. Far ahead, she saw it. An entire city made of silver glass. Towers rose like frozen moonbeams, bridges arched between them like threads of crystal, and everywhere, reflections shimmered. It was beautiful but strange, too still, too perfect. A narrow bridge of light stretched toward the city's gate. When Alara stepped onto it, her reflection appeared beneath her feet, soft, rippling, but unmistakably hers. As she walked, the reflection began to change. It smiled back at her first, then frowned. Its eyes looked older, sadder, wiser than her own. The further she went, the more the bridge mirrored not her body, but her feelings, every doubt, every fear, every hope hidden deep within. She stopped in the middle of the bridge. Why is it showing me this? Because this city speaks in reflections, said Luma. It cannot hide truth. Only those who face themselves may enter. Alara looked down again. In the shimmering surface below, she saw moments from her life. Nights alone at her window, wondering why she always felt different. The time she wanted to tell her friend a secret but stayed silent. The days she tried to be brave, but instead hid her tears beneath a smile. Her reflection whispered softly, its voice a perfect echo of her own. You wished for the best dream, but dreams cannot bloom inside a heart afraid to be seen. The words hurt, not sharply, but deeply, like a truth long ignored. Alara closed her eyes and took a slow breath. Maybe I was afraid to believe that I mattered. The reflection nodded. Every dream begins with that belief. A warm hand seemed to rest on her shoulder, though there was no one but Luma beside her. When she opened her eyes again, the reflection smiled gently, the sadness easing. The bridge brightened, the ripples stilled. You have accepted your echo, Luma said. Now you may enter. They stepped forward, and the gates of the city opened soundlessly. Inside, everything glowed. The streets were made of mirrored stone, reflecting the stars above. The buildings were tall and delicate, their surfaces shifting like calm water. Yet the city was silent. No voices, no footsteps, only the soft hum of light. Alara's own reflection followed her in every surface, but now it moved in harmony, no longer distorted. For the first time, she felt balanced, as though every part of her heart walked beside her instead of behind her. At the center of the city stood a great fountain of silver. Instead of water, it poured pure light, cascading upward instead of down. Alara approached it slowly. Inside the fountain's glow, she saw countless reflections. Faces of people she didn't know, laughing, crying, dreaming. "These are all who have ever looked into their truth," Luma whispered. "Each reflection is a memory of honesty." Alara reached out. The light flowed around her fingers like warm rain. In that moment, she saw herself, not as a lonely child, but as she truly was, curious, brave, and full of wonder. Her reflection in the fountain smiled. "Do you see?" it asked. "You are not small. You are real." Tears welled in her eyes, not of sadness, but relief. "Yes," she whispered. "I see now." From the heart of the fountain rose another orb of light, brighter than the first. It hovered before her, shimmering white with a faint silver core. "The light of truth," said Luma softly. "The second light of your dream." Alara cupped it in both hands. It felt weightless, yet she could sense its warmth pulsing in time with her heartbeat. The city brightened. The mirrored towers shimmered once more, then slowly dimmed, as though bowing to her before fading into the sky. "The city of shimmering echoes rests now," Luma said. "You have given it peace. Truth has been seen." Alara looked down at the orb glowing in her hands, then at the horizon beyond the valley, where faint clouds swirled like waves. "Where next?" she asked quietly. "To the clouds," Luma answered, "where gratitude blooms." They turned away from the silent city. As they crossed the bridge of light once more, Alara's reflection smiled one last time and whispered, barely audible, "Dream bravely, star wisher." The cloud garden of gratitude. The valley of mirrors faded behind them, and Alara walked into a sky made of whispers. The air grew light, cool, and fragrant, carrying the scent of rain and blooming stars. When she looked down, she realized there was no ground beneath her feet anymore. Only clouds, soft and glowing, holding her gently as she walked. Each step left a faint shimmer, like moonlight ripples in a quiet lake. "We're walking on clouds?" she whispered, half laughing, half in awe. "Yes," said Luma. "This is the cloud garden. Here, every breath of kindness becomes a flower." The sky stretched endlessly, painted in soft hues of pink and silver. The clouds shaped themselves into wide, drifting platforms, each blooming with luminous flowers that swayed as if in a silent melody. Some petals glowed gold, others blue or violet, and when the breeze passed through them, their light shimmered like laughter. Alara bent down and touched one. It opened fully at her touch, releasing a faint sound, almost like a sigh of joy. "What kind of flowers are these?" she asked. "Each one grows from gratitude," Luma explained softly. "Every act of thanks, every moment of quiet appreciation creates one here. Some are born from joy, some from sorrow healed, but all are made of peace." They walked through the glowing blossoms. In the distance, faint figures moved among the clouds, gentle, transparent forms that glided like dancers made of air. They bowed their heads as Alara passed, their smiles kind and knowing. "Who are they?" "The remembered," said Luma. Spirits of those who once gave thanks without being asked. They tend the garden so that the next dreamer finds it beautiful. Alara looked around in quiet wonder. For the first time, she didn't feel the pull of curiosity or fear, just calm, full and still, like a lullaby inside her heart. They came upon a tree made of pure light. Its trunk shimmered like crystal rain, and its branches stretched across the sky, heavy with luminous fruit. The fruit glowed faintly, each one a different color, softly humming a gentle tone. "What are these?" "Memories of thankfulness," Luma said. "Pluck one and you will see." Alara reached out and gently took one of the glowing fruits. The instant her fingers brushed it, the fruit melted into light and flowed into her hands. Images appeared before her eyes. Her mother's smile when Alara helped her carry water. The time she gave her last candle to a traveler lost in the night. The soft thank yous she had received from strangers long ago. Each memory shone like a star, small yet full of warmth. A tear rolled down her cheek. "I'd forgotten these moments," she said softly. "I thought they didn't matter." Luma's voice was calm and kind. "Nothing kind is ever small, Alara. Gratitude is the quiet thread that holds every dream together." The tree's branches rustled, and one of the glowing fruits drifted down on its own, settling in Alara's hands. Its light pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. "The third light," Luma whispered. "The light of gratitude." As Alara held it close, the entire garden seemed to breathe around her. The flowers turned toward her, glowing brighter. The cloud beneath her feet lifted gently, carrying her higher. "You see," said Luma, "truth opened your heart, and now gratitude fills it. When you thank what has been, you make space for what can be." Alara smiled softly, feeling her chest warm and light. "Then I'm thankful," she whispered, "for this dream, for the stars, and for you, Luma." The little orb flickered like laughter. "And I'm thankful for you, Alara. Without dreamers, even the stars would forget how to shine." The sky shifted to deeper shades of indigo, and far ahead, a gentle glow appeared. A vast, floating lake that reflected the stars above perfectly. Its surface was so still it seemed like another sky. "What is that?" she asked, staring in wonder. "The lake of reflection," Luma said. "Beyond it lies the fourth realm, the chamber of remembrance." They began to walk again, clouds parting softly beneath their feet. As they neared the glowing water, the air grew calm, as though holding its breath. Alara looked down at the cloud flowers waving goodbye, their light fading into the mist. "I'll come back someday," she whispered. "They know," Luma said gently. "Every thank you echoes forever." The cloud garden dimmed behind them, and the lake shimmered ahead, its still surface calling quietly, like a memory waiting to be seen once more. And so, hand in light, Alara and Luma stepped toward the lake, ready to uncover the next piece of her starlit wish. The lake of reflection. The path to the lake was quiet, so quiet that even the soft rustle of Alara's breath felt like a sound too large for the air. The clouds thinned beneath her until they became mist, and then only silver light remained. The lake stretched before her like liquid glass, calm, endless, perfectly still. Alara hesitated at its edge. There was no wind, no ripple, not even the faintest movement. It looked less like water and more like a window into forever. "Is this truly a lake?" she whispered. "It is memory," Luma answered. "Everything you have ever been rests here, waiting to be seen without fear." Alara knelt and touched the surface. The moment her fingers brushed it, a faint vibration rippled outward, spreading light through the stillness. The lake brightened and began to show images. At first, they were soft and distant, A child chasing fireflies under a moonlit sky, a girl whispering her dreams to the stars. Then came the moments she had hidden from herself, the arguments she never resolved, the words she regretted, the lonely nights she filled with unspoken wishes. Each one appeared, shimmered, and dissolved again into the water. Alara's chest tightened. "It's all so much. Do not run from it," Luma said gently. "These are not punishments. They are simply truth, asking to be accepted." She closed her eyes. The lake's light wrapped around her like a warm breeze, and slowly, she breathed out every unspoken weight. With each breath, the vision softened. Instead of guilt, she felt a strange tenderness, an understanding that her past self had always been trying, always reaching for light even when she stumbled in shadow. The water stirred again, and this time one image remained. It was of a small girl sitting at her window, her younger self, looking at the stars with tears on her cheeks. "Why are you crying?" Alara asked softly. The reflection looked up, eyes wide, voice trembling like the night wind. "Because I made a wish, but I don't believe it will come true." Alara knelt closer. "What did you wish for?" "To be seen," said the child. "To matter." Her heart broke and healed at once. She reached through the shimmering surface and placed her hand against the reflections. "You do matter," she whispered. "You always did." The lake pulsed with light. The reflection smiled, and the tear on her cheek turned to starlight. It drifted upward, rising into the air like a tiny flame, then settled gently into Alara's hands. "The fourth light," said Luma softly. "The light of remembrance." As she held it, warmth spread through her palms and up into her heart. The four lights she had gathered, the lights of compassion, truth, gratitude, and remembrance, glimmered within her, spinning slowly like miniature stars. The lake's surface rippled again, this time revealing the outline of a great doorway made of light floating in the distance. "Where does it lead?" she asked. "To the next part of your journey," said Luma. "Beyond remembrance lies renewal, the moment when dreams become real." Alara took one last look at the lake. It was calm again, empty but peaceful, as though every sorrow she had carried had found a resting place there. "Thank you," she whispered to the water. A faint echo answered her. "And thank you, dreamer." The doorway of light began to open, a slow unfurling of brilliance like dawn breaking for the first time. Luma floated ahead, glowing brighter. "Come," it said. "Your star is waiting." Alara stepped forward, and as she crossed the threshold, the lake behind her shimmered one last time, then faded into a sea of stars. The threshold of dawn. When Alara stepped through the doorway of light, it felt as though the entire sky inhaled. The world behind her, the still lake, the garden of clouds, the shimmering city, folded softly away, like pages turning to rest. Ahead stretched a horizon she had never seen before. A vast plain of color, neither day nor night, where dawn and twilight danced together. The air smelled of rain and renewal. Dew sparkled on unseen grass, and every droplet reflected tiny galaxies. In the distance, hills rose and fell like sleeping giants beneath a blanket of light. Alara paused. "It feels new," she whispered. "It is," said Luma, hovering beside her shoulder. "This is the realm of rebirth, the place where forgotten dreams learn to live again." The ground beneath her shimmered faintly. Each step left behind a soft bloom of silver dust, vanishing after a heartbeat. It was as if the earth itself was breathing with her, alive, listening. For the first time since her journey began, the sky was not still. It moved. Winds painted slow, sweeping arcs of color. Rose, amber, pale gold, like invisible hands brushing a canvas made of air. Somewhere far off, She heard faint laughter, the kind that sounds like bells carried by the wind. She smiled. It doesn't feel lonely anymore. Luma's glow deepened. That is because your heart no longer wanders in pieces. You have gathered light within yourself, and the world reflects it back. They walked on until the ground became softer, almost liquid underfoot, until they reached a stream so clear that it seemed to be made entirely of starlight. It flowed slowly, gracefully, and where it touched the earth, flowers unfolded in its wake. Alara knelt beside the stream, dipping her hand into the cool glow. Tiny stars clung to her skin, pulsing gently. It feels alive. It is, said Luma. This stream carries the breath of beginnings. Every drop remembers the first time it was dreamed. Alara watched the water drift away, curious where it led. Far down the valley, she could see it branching into rivers that disappeared beneath a curtain of mist. Beyond that mist, faint silhouettes moved, shapes that looked almost human, yet made of shifting light. Who are they? Echo souls, Luma said quietly. Dreams that were once forgotten. Now awakening, they rise again when a star wisher believes strongly enough. Alara stood, watching their silhouettes move within the mist. Each one seemed to shimmer with faint emotion. Joy, sorrow, curiosity, all reborn. The sight filled her with a warmth that spread through her chest. She realized she was smiling without meaning to. They continued along the glowing stream until they reached a wide meadow. Here the grass was translucent, the color of moonlight, and dotted with flowers that turned their faces toward Alara as she passed. The wind carried a low hum, music without instruments, as if the world itself was humming in harmony. "What is this place?" she asked in awe. "It is called the Meadow of Renewal," said Luma. "Every dreamer who comes here leaves behind what no longer serves them. Only what is true may grow again." Alara looked down at the meadow, suddenly aware of how heavy her satchel felt, the small bag she'd carried since her first night beneath the stars. She opened it and found the tiny trinkets she had gathered along her journey. A leaf from the whispering forest, a shard of mirror from the city of echoes, a petal from the cloud garden, and a droplet of light from the lake of reflection. Each item glowed softly, resonating with her heartbeat. "Do I have to let them go?" she asked. Luma floated closer, its voice almost a whisper. "Not let go, transform. The things you keep will change just as you have. Dreams never die. They simply take new shapes." Alara knelt and placed the items gently on the meadow. The grass shimmered, curling around them like gentle fingers. Light rippled outward, and slowly the trinkets began to dissolve. Leaf into light, mirror into silver dust, petal into mist, droplet into pure radiance. The light rose and settled in her chest. Alara gasped softly as she felt it merge with her heartbeat, pulsing warm and strong. "They're part of me now," she said. "Yes," replied Luma. "Everything you've loved and learned belongs to you. Nothing is ever truly lost." The meadow brightened around them, its flowers blooming wider, their fragrance richer. The hum of the wind grew into a melody, slow and tender. For a moment, Alara closed her eyes and simply breathed. She felt both grounded and infinite, connected to everything she had touched. Then the wind shifted. The horizon darkened slightly, and the distant mist began to glow from within. Shapes moved again, clearer now. One figure stepped out, tall, radiant, cloaked in faint light. Alara felt her breath catch. Who is that?" Luma's light dimmed in reverence. "A guide of renewal," it said softly. "They come to those who are ready to dream the dream itself." The figure walked slowly toward her. Its face was serene, almost human but not quite. Its eyes held both sunrise and sunset within them. When it spoke, its voice sounded like wind through leaves and waves against stone, ancient yet kind. Elara, it said, you have gathered the lights of compassion, truth, gratitude, and remembrance. But the final lights cannot be given. They must be created. Elara swallowed. How? The being smiled gently. By choosing what your dream will become. This realm will shape itself around your heart's desire. What is it that you wish to bring into being? Elara hesitated. She looked at the glowing meadow, at Luma floating beside her, at the rising mist filled with awakening souls. So many images flickered through her mind. Hope, kindness, belonging. But beneath them all was a single, quiet truth. I want to bring peace, she said finally. Not only for myself, but for others who feel lost in their dreams. The being bowed its head. Then peace shall take form. The ground trembled, not in fear, but in transformation. Light surged upward from the meadow, weaving itself into shapes. Trees of crystal, rivers of calm, skies blooming with golden dawn. It was as if the world was painting itself from her words. Elara stepped back, her eyes wide with wonder. It's alive. It is your heart, said Luma, glowing with pride. And it has just begun to dream for itself. The makers of light. The new world shimmered around Elara, still forming itself from her wish. Rivers curved where she had dreamed of peace, and trees rose wherever her hope had touched the ground. Soft winds carried lullabies without words. The realm of rebirth felt like a living heartbeat. From the golden haze ahead came three shapes, tall, luminous beings wrapped in robes of mist. Their faces were calm, their eyes filled with galaxies. Are you the guides of renewal? Elara asked quietly. We are the makers of light, one answered. We help dreamers weave the fabric of new beginnings. They circled her slowly, not as judges but as caretakers of creation. Every dreamer shapes the world differently, said the first. Some craft joy, others silence, others stars. But all must learn balance, added the second. For even peace must know motion, or it turns to stillness without meaning. And all creation, whispered the third, must one day let go of its maker. Elara listened, the words sinking deep like seeds. The first maker extended a hand, and from it flowed a thread of pure light. This is the loom of becoming. Place upon it the essence of your dream. Elara held out the 4 glowing orbs she carried. The lights of compassion, truth, gratitude, and remembrance. They floated above the loom, humming softly, then wove themselves together into a ribbon of living radiance. The ribbon shimmered with color, rose for kindness, silver for honesty, gold for thankfulness, and blue for memory. Beautiful, murmured the second maker. But it needs one more thread, your own choice. Elara hesitated. What do I choose? Whatever your heart would offer the universe. She thought of everything she had seen. The lonely reflections, the grateful blossoms, the quiet lake that held her past. Then she smiled softly. Hope, she said, the courage to begin again, no matter the darkness. The makers bowed. A 5th thread of pale dawnlight appeared and wrapped around the others. The loom blazed brighter, then dissolved, its light sinking into Elara's chest. The 5th light is yours, said the first maker. The light of hope born, not found. Elara felt it pulse through her like the first breath of morning. What happens now? She asked. Now, replied the makers. The world you carry must awaken beyond you. Every star wisher's journey ends when their dream begins to dream itself. A door of sunlight appeared before her, taller than mountains, wide as the sky. Its surface rippled with images of people sleeping under gentle moons, hearts softening, minds resting, humans far away, perhaps even in her own world. "Step through," said Luma softly. "It will take you home." Alara turned to her glowing companion. "Will you come with me?" Luma's light trembled tenderly. "I am part of the dream, but you will see me in every star that answers a wish." Tears shimmered in her eyes. "Thank you, Luma. Thank you, Alara," it whispered. "You taught even the stars to rest." With one deep breath, she stepped into the door. The Star Wisher returns. Light folded around her like silk, and then quiet. Alara opened her eyes to find herself lying once again in her small attic room, moonlight spilling across the floor. The window was open, the air cool and calm. The world outside was still the same, and yet completely different. For a moment she wondered if it had all been a dream, but when she lifted her hand, she saw a faint shimmer. 5 tiny points of light swirling just above her palm. They pulsed once, then drifted upward and disappeared through the window, leaving a soft warmth behind. She smiled. "Good night, Luma," she whispered. Outside, the stars brightened as if answering. Days passed softly after that. Alara walked through the world differently, listening more, rushing less, finding small kindnesses in strangers' eyes. Whenever she thanked someone, the air around her seemed to glow faintly, like the cloud garden blooming again. When she looked at her reflection, it smiled back honestly, without fear. Sometimes at night, she would sit by the window and see faint trails of light crossing the sky, shooting stars that lingered just a little longer than before. She knew they were other wishes, other dreamers beginning their own journeys. And deep inside her heart, she carried peace. Not the silence of nothingness, but the calm hum of a universe still becoming. One evening, as she drifted to sleep, a familiar voice whispered through her mind, "Dream bravely, Star Wisher." She smiled, eyes closing. The world around her softened, blurred, and once more the sky opened above, vast, endless, filled with light. But this time she was not a visitor. She was part of it. The stars shone brighter, pulsing gently like a heartbeat, as if the cosmos itself had learned to breathe again. Somewhere in that infinite calm, a new wish began, perhaps from another lonely soul gazing upward, whispering to the night for hope. And Alara's light, her dream, answered. The stars promise. Far beyond the horizon of sleep, where dreams touch the edge of eternity, 5 lights shimmer together eternally. Compassion, truth, gratitude, remembrance, and hope. They weave the gentle glow that guides every restless heart toward peace. And if you ever find yourself awake under a silent sky, wishing on a star, listen closely. You might hear a soft, familiar whisper. Every dreamer is a star wisher. Every wish is a beginning. The end, the Star Wisher's midnight journey.